It would take a second longer than that. Thank you, Greg. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff Gibby. I'm going to read a legal disclaimer, set up a couple of ground rules, all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to kick off with our guest today, who's Daniel Sinig. First of all, thanks for joining the channel. It's good to see you. If you're watching us on YouTube, a like and a subscribe helps a great deal. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have some questions in your GoToWebinar, click on the questions button off to the right-hand side over here, and just kind of type in the question. We'll be able to see it. We'll make sure we answer it. If you're on YouTube, just use the chat. Say, hey, how's it going? Here's my question, and we'll answer it. So there you go. In any case, I did promise a legal disclaimer, and you're going to get one. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to you interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock should have no liability for investment decisions based on the use of the trading, the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. So, hope you enjoyed that. Also want to reiterate, we're not paid to endorse a security. We're not going to kind of be recommending a security. No information today should be construed as investment advice. So without further ado, I do want to introduce our guest today. Our guest has been a partner of MetaStock for a number of years now. Very, very smart trader. Has put together some really, really kind of creative uses around technical analysis, optimization of indicators, super intelligent, super smart guy. And we're going to go ahead and kind of turn everything over to him. So Daniel, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, hey Jeffrey, it's good to be here.
Always good to have you. Thanks for agreeing to join us.
Yes, of course. It's always nice to be back at MetaStock with the good folks over there in Utah. It's definitely on my bucket list to come visit you guys.
Yeah, we know all the good lunch places.
Yes, that's awesome.
All of them. Yeah. We'll take you to a nice place.
Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Just give me a second if I can find the proper.
I got it.
There we go. Okay, awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. Also from my side, my name is Daniel, and I am in fact greeting you today from beautiful Montreal, which has been my home for the last almost 25 years. Time flies. I came over when I was a student. Back in the day when I was a young man. I love the city. I got stuck here and I've been haven't been looking back since. Of course, as you can probably tell by my accent, I am born and raised in Germany. So I came over from Germany to Montreal. I've been living here now for a long time, but I'll be heading back today to Germany for a quick vacation to see the folks over there. It's always nice to be back. So that's on my list today, but I'm super excited to be here this morning to introduce everyone in this webinar room to our latest generation of AI-powered indicators. And spoiler alert, they work fantastically for MetaStock, and perhaps more importantly, I do have a very interesting setup found for you using the MetaStock platform, the scanner in MetaStock, which is probably the greatest feature ever, which allows you to scan through thousands of symbols to identify symbols with interesting setups. So please stay tuned for that. A couple of words about who I am. So as I mentioned before, my name is Daniel. Just a picture perhaps 10 years ago. And what we do and what I do is we specialize on the creation of innovative trading indicators. We run a company called Trading Indicators. Perhaps not so creatively, but we are very creatively when it comes to building trading indicators with only one mission and focus, which is to allow you, the trader, to make better trading decisions. This is at the centerpiece of everything we do. We've been doing this for a long time. We've developed indicators for MetaStock, of course, but also for TradingView, NinjaTrader, and many other platforms. And we totaled them up the other day, and we came to a number, north of 1,000 indicators built for clients all over the world. So we have tremendous experience, and our flagship indicators, the one that we use on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to introduce to you today. Now, one quick fun fact, because it's lunchtime, we have a bit more time, at least it's lunchtime here in Montreal. I did not start off as a trader. In fact, when I came to Montreal, my career objective was to become a professor. in software engineering. So I went through all the levels. I did my master's, my PhD. I was a postdoc for a couple of years. I started teaching and doing research in various universities in and around Montreal. And I even have a Rate My Professor profile if you want to check it out. But having this said, during all these years, I was always fascinated by the world of trading, how you can make money in the markets. So, I started trading on the side. But unfortunately, and you may relate with me, unfortunately, as you start out, you tend to make all kinds of mistakes. You overtrade, you take too much risk, you revenge trade, you trade when market conditions are not right. And after donating quite a bit of money to the markets, I came to the hard realization, oh boy, trading is not as straightforward as I thought, and I need help. And for me, needing help meant I need better tools, better indicators, which will help me make better trading decisions. So I wrote up my sleeve, because I was a software engineer. So I wrote up my sleeve and I started coding. And the very first indicators which I've written, they were exclusively meant for my own purpose. And when I realized, oh boy, these actually do make a difference. They actually do help me make better trading decisions. I then thought perhaps others could benefit from these indicators as well. And this is really how the story behind tradingindicators.com started, which is now more than 10 years ago. All right, well, I don't want to dwell in the past. Let's see where our journey has led us. What are our flagship indicators? But before we do, a quick reminder also from my side that trading does contain substantial risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance or really anything based on historical data, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, let's get into it. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, what we do every single day, we specialize in creating innovative trading indicators. This is our focus every single day. We have new ideas that come in every single day. We try them out, we vet them. Many of them fail. Some of them will survive the scrutiny. So that's what we specialize in. Now, we've seen it all. We've seen oscillators. We have seen indicators that show you divergence or support and resistance levels. And also, of course, you've seen indicators, and we've built indicators which give you very concrete entry signals. Now, we've seen that before. Some indicators will show you directly in your price chart, hey, perhaps now this might be a nice long setup, or perhaps now this might be a nice short setup. But you know what? I was always skeptical when I saw this from other vendors. There's a signal right now, but how much do I really trust this signal? And I think this is a question that every trader should ask himself, because oftentimes traders will fail because they blindly rely on a trading signal without any context. But this context can be the difference maker between a successful trader and a trader that will fail. So what do I mean by this? And this can come in various different shapes and forms. But one way we thought about it is perhaps it would be really cool if the indicator could tell you, in addition to the signal, also basically a percentage value of how much this signal could be trusted. Or in other words, what are the estimated odds of this signal being a successful one, resulting in a successful trade? Wouldn't that be cool? You know where the idea came from? It came from this guy. Perhaps not this guy in particular, but it came from televised poker games. This used to be a really big thing back in the day. Not so much anymore. At least I haven't seen many of those anymore. But back in the day, I was always fascinated by these poker shows. And what you could always see as the viewer, of course, you could always see these projected odds, which would indicate what were the odds of this guy winning the hand, or perhaps what are the odds of the other guy winning this hand, this pot. 80% in this case and 20% of this case. And imagine if you actually knew as a poker player what your projected odds are. Of course, you don't know it because you don't know what the other person's hand is. But if you knew what these odds are, well, you would probably be an unbeatable poker player. So what is not possible in poker, because this would considered be cheating, we thought perhaps this might be possible when it comes to trading. Imagine what if we would know at the time when the signal comes in what the estimated odds are of winning this signal, of resulting in a successful trade. Something like displayed down here. The trader perhaps has a 73% of concluding this entry signal successfully, and the market has 27% of winning. How would you trade if you knew these numbers? And I think the answer is very straightforward. Of course, everybody in their right mind would only take an entry signal if the odds are in my favor, and you would skip the entry signal if the odds are not in my favor. I think this goes without saying. And I sometimes, say to our community, oftentimes not taking a trade is the best trade advice that you can get. And these odds, if possible, well, I'm not gonna take away the conclusion of this. If possible, these odds could help you to decide whether you should execute on a signal or perhaps stay on the sideline. But of course, this was just an idea back in the day. So we asked ourselves the question, can this be done? Is it possible to somehow use some very sophisticated logic and some AI tools and algorithms to estimate what are the odds of winning your next trade? Can this be done? And the easy answer was, yes, it can. It is possible to display directly on your price chart, or in case of MetaStock, directly in your expert commentary, you can display these odds. For example, here, you can see long efficiency at 91% and short efficiency at 87%, meaning that the historical win rate of the long signals was at 91% and the ones for the short signals at 87%. And you can use this information to make trading decisions. But besides displaying these numbers on the chart, I think the real question that everyone should ask himself is, what do these odds actually mean? And what we've done, in fact, before I go to the next slide here, what we've done is we actually proved by running a very comprehensive case study that following these statistics and only taking trades when the statistics were in your favor and not taking a trade when they were not could make a huge difference. So we run a case study over more than, I think, 9 months. We had over 7,000 signals, and the first results that we looked at was, and this was across multiple different symbols, and we traded long and short, so there was no bias whatsoever. And the first results that we looked at was, what if you would have traded every single signal? And the resulting performance was not very great. It was, kind of a break-even system, maybe even a losing system. But then we did something. We applied a filter to the entire system and only looked at these trades where, at the time of the signal, the odds were actually in our favor. And if they were not, we would skip this trade. And the difference in performance was overwhelmingly significant. Suddenly, we had a highly profitable system. So this gave us so much confidence that we decided to integrate these statistics into all our flagship indicators. So we've done this, and this was our first big breakthrough when it came to trading technology. So we were showing these odds directly on your chart or on the expert commentary, allowing you, the trader, to truly make informed trading decisions. And what do I mean by this? Well, first of all, you would only take trades, and I mentioned this before, when the odds were in your favor, and if they're not, you would skip the trade. That's the most straightforward use case of being aware of these statistics. Secondly, you could tell right away whether market conditions were favorable to one trade or perhaps unfavorable. And sometimes you may say, okay, for this particular symbol, on this particular time frame, the long signals are working out much better than the short signals. And you as a trader could once again take this information and trade accordingly. For example, only follow the long signals, and if a short signal comes along, you would skip it. And thirdly, the third benefit of knowing these statistics is, finally, we had some hard evidence of finding out which parameters of an indicator, and every indicator has parameters, like an RSI has different parameters, a MACD has different parameters, a stochastics indicator has parameters. Finally, we were able to tell which parameters would actually give us the best signals. Would be those parameters which would give us the highest percentages. So we had some hard evidence directly on the price chart, which would tell us, hey, was this parameter change favorable, or perhaps was it unfavorable? So this was possible as well with these statistics. But then you may say now, okay, now I've seen indicators of parameters like an RSI has a period parameter of 14 and MACD maybe 26, 9, 12 or whatever these parameters might be. But I, as a trader, typically I only use the default parameters. But why? Because changing these is so tedious. It's annoying. And you are absolutely right. Finding the best parameters can be a challenge for most traders and investors. And mostly because it is just so tedious. Manually playing around with these settings, finding the best ones, it just takes a lot of time. And when you change symbols, you have to start the process again. When you change time frame, you would need to start this process once again. So over and over again, this is work that you don't want to do as a trader. As a trader, what you want to do is you want to focus on what really matters, whether you want to take that final trading decision or perhaps stay on the sidelines. This is where you want to spend your energy on, not on changing parameters and trying to find the best ones. And you know what? We totally agree with you. This is why we have done another invention. We have created a feature which we call auto optimization. And this feature will automatically find the best parameters for you. You see what it does? As soon as the indicator is applied on the price chart, the auto optimization feature will go through all different kinds of combinations of parameters to find the one combination which will give you the best odds. So the indicator will do this automatically for you. And this was another game changer. And our trading community loved this feature because it saved you so much time as a trader. And once again, I'm a true believer that if something is too tedious, takes too much time, it will not be done in the long run. You may do it the first time, maybe the second time, maybe for the first day or two, but then you will give up on it because it just is too tedious. And having an auto optimization feature which will take all this burden away from you is a true game changer. Now, I talk a lot and I digress a lot, but now here is what we're all here for. In this webinar, we will discover together that these two breakthrough technology, win rate prediction and auto optimization, can dramatically enhance the performance of any indicator. It doesn't really matter what kind of indicator it is. Example, it could be a stop and reverse indicator. An indicator that goes long, and when you get stopped out, you reverse your position to the short side, and so forth and so forth. It could be such an indicator. It could also be an indicator which is based on trend trading. It looks at a strong trend and is in the trend direction. It could be a reversal indicator based on divergence. It could be a breakout indicator, or it could be an indicator based on Confluence. All these types of indicators can benefit from these technologies: win rate prediction and auto optimization. I'm going to prove this to you right now. And don't worry, there will be plenty of charting coming up. So please, bear with me for another 5 minutes before we pull up the chart. So the first type of indicator is stop and reverse. And when I personally think about stop and reverse, one indicator specifically comes to mind. And this indicator is called super trend. It was one of the very first stop and reverse indicators. And there's many other cool features built in. It's an indicator developed by a French trader, in fact, Olivier Sebon. He wrote a book about this indicator. He developed this indicator more than 20 years ago, maybe even 25, 30 years ago. He was very successful because this indicator back in the day was extremely influential because it had some very groundbreaking features built in. So first of all, it was stop and reverse. Basically, whenever you get stopped out of a long trade, like this green line here, you would then reverse your trade into a short trade. When you get stopped out there, you would reverse again into a long trade. That was the first thing. Secondly, it was an adaptive indicator, meaning when market conditions were very volatile, the stop loss, this little green line here or this little red line, would be further away from the price, because allowing the trade to take more room because things are very volatile. And if things were more calm, the stop loss would be tighter because it was not needed to have a wide stop loss. So this was also very influential back in the day. And thirdly, it was based on the concept of a trailing stop, a mechanism where a stop loss level, you can see this green line here, would only be tightened but never loosened, thus allowing you to lock in profits. You can see it here, for this buy trade here, the trailing stop would only go upwards. And for the sell trade here, the trailing stop would only go downwards. It would never go in the opposite direction, thus locking in profits. So an indicator truly designed on trend trading, riding out the trend until the very end. So now a quick summary. So we have our entry sequence of super trend. We have our trailing stop, and the entry sequence can come in both flavors, in both directions, buy entries and sell entries. And whenever the trailing stop was hit, a signal would alternate, and this would continue on and on and on. All right, so let me quickly show you how this indicator works on MetaStock, and then I'm going to show you what if we would have equipped this indicator with win rate prediction and auto optimization. So this is our objective right now. So let me switch over to MetaStock right now. And by the way, if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions into the chat box or the Q&A box, and we're going to get to those questions as this webinar proceeds. All right, so I'm going to switch over to MetaStock. There we go. I'm going to drag this down for a little bit. And the first thing you're going to see here is a chart, a daily chart of the SPY, the ETF that tracks the S&P 500s. And of course, we all know that the S&Ps have been going up for a long time. We had this big drop here during the tariffs. You can see this one. This is a daily chart, by the way. So in February, beginning of March, a big drop, but then the rapid recovery of this drop off, and now we are at all-time highs. The market are a bit at an exhaustion point right now, but that's not the point. The point is that I have applied the classic super trend indicator to this chart. You can see this by simply seeing here. Let me just drag this up a little bit. We have our short entry signals here, these big downward facing arrows in red, and then we have our long entry signal, and you also can see the trading stop here. And every time a trading stop is triggered, meaning price crosses this trading stop, you can see it here, price goes above this green line here, we reverse our trade direction. So this is the classic super trend indicator. There's nothing special with this. Is the classic one developed by Olivier Seban back in the late 1990s, I would say. All right, so, but now we took this idea and we tried to supercharge it with our two technologies. The first thing that we have integrated is our win rate prediction feature. Let me show you how this works. So in MetaStock, what you do is you right click on your chart and you go to Expert Advisor and click on Commentary. This field here, it's already open in my case, so I'm going to reopen it one more time. So it comes up. There we go. And I'm just going to drag it up a little bit. And we can see in this expert commentary, if we scroll down a little bit, we can see, okay, we do have these following statistics. And we have a long win rate of 40% and a short win rate of 33% and a profit factor of 0.87 across 60 trades, 60 signals. Not the greatest odds. Would you agree? And this can happen many, many times. So what may actually seem as a great indicator, you can see some trades really nailed down. The short trade really had a nice follow through. This long trade, of course, had a really beautiful follow through. But in the long run, looking at the big picture, actually these signals did not give us an edge. Our profit factor was below 1, and below 1 means we don't have an edge over the market. So this is something which you oftentimes cannot see with the naked eye. And you would need to see hard statistics, which actually prove to you, okay, in our look back period over the last 1,000 or 1,200 bars, actually the 60 signals would not have been profitable. I think that's an eye opener for many of you, because now you actually can see it of how much you can trust these signals or not. All right, so that's one takeaway. And this is possible because the indicator simulates. What if I had traded all these signals? I'm going to show you the statistics right here. That's our feature number 1. You can see right away here, what are these statistics? Feature number 2, if you remember, is auto optimization. All right, so let's back up a little bit. Super Trend Bullseye can be customized by 2 different settings. It's actually a very simple indicator. There are only 2 settings really. We have the multiplier parameter, which is by default set to a value of 2. And the period parameter set to a value of 20. These are the default settings of this indicator. And with these default settings, this would have been the performance. And what we could do, in theory, I'm going to just show you right now, what we could do is we could change these settings. So maybe instead of a multiplier of 2, maybe let's try a multiplier of 3. Let's see what happens. We're going to get to the punchline in a second. So I'll do this right now. I click OK. I close this. I reload the indicator. Everything will recalculate. And once done, you will see, there we go. If I go down here, all right. Oh, it has improved. Now our profit factor actually is positive at 1.25. And this was possible because I changed the parameters. Okay. So I could go in and change it again and try to find the best parameter combinations for these two settings. But as we already concluded together, this is very tedious. This is not something that you want to do manually. And this is exactly the reason why we have invented auto optimization. Basically, I'm going to show this to you in a second, I can ask the indicator to find the best settings for me. How does this work? And by the way, this is enabled by default. This example here, we have just disabled it just to make a case. So I'm going to go in back to the settings in here, and I'm going to go back to the default settings. And I'm going to explain to you how this works. So I'm going to put a multiplier start, I'll explain in a second, to 2, and the multiplier end to 6, and a step value of 0.5. And do the same thing for the period parameter, a start from 20, an end value of, let's say, 100, and this can be customized, of course, and a step of 20. And basically, with these settings, I will ask the indicator, try out every combination in between these two values, 2 and 6, and 20 and 100, to find the best one in steps of 0.5 for the period parameter and steps of 20 for the, or 0.5 for the multiplier parameter and 20 for the period parameter. All right, so I say okay. And you can, of course, customize these values, but this is, I think, pretty good. You close it, you reload the indicator, and now it will take a little bit longer to load the whole thing. But once done, the indicator will now have found the best settings for you. And for this particular symbol, the best settings for the SPY on the daily time frame, the best settings would be 5 for the multiplier parameter and 20 for the period parameter. And these are the optimal settings. And for these optimal settings, our profit factor will be at 1.42 across both long trades and short trades. Long trades are performing better, 66% win rate, versus short trades are performing not as good at 28%. This is our next takeaway. What if you have a ratio like this? So overall, you're profitable. So even if you trade both trade directions, long and short, you are profitable. But it is clearly visible that the long direction is working much better than the short direction at 66.67%. What would you do? Well, I think the conclusion once again is quite straightforward. You would focus on the long trades, just to have much better statistics, and you would skip the short trades because these ones have not worked out as well. And once again, this is something that you may not conclude on your own without these insights, because just by looking at these recent signals, see what this short signal here worked out quite nicely. We actually got a nice run out of it. Yeah, but in fact, over time, the win rate was only at 28%. And this is the actual takeaway. So in this case, with these settings, only focus on the long trades. And the nice thing is, now whenever I change symbol or whenever I change time frame, the indicator will automatically optimize and find the best parameters for you for this new symbol. Here's another example. Let's switch it up. Let's go to Bitcoin, BTC. Well, Bitcoin has had a nice run lately. Once again, I'm going to reload it quickly here. The indicator will optimize when applied to the chart. And in this case, 5.5 and 80 are deemed to be the best parameters. All right. Our win rate is 75% for long trades, 0% for short trades. Oh, that's really extreme. That's not normal. 8 trades were taken, a profit factor of 1.69. So here's even more extreme. Long trades are working much, much better than short trades. In fact, all short trades in our look-back period would have been losers. Once again, for you as a trader, this is invaluable insight of whether you should trust the signal or not trust the signal. And in this case, only long signals should be trusted, short ones not. All right, so let me conclude because we're going to move on. There's a lot more stuff I need to cover. All right, a quick conclusion. So back to the slides. What we've seen so far is a new generation of a super trend indicator, which we call super trend bullseye. So it's basically super trend supercharged with two key features: auto optimization and performance statistics. In addition to these, we also integrated some other quality of life features such as on close or on touch reversal modes, or a trading style feature. Let me quickly explain this to you real quick. What do these mean? Then we're going to move on. So on close versus on touch. I'm going to go back real quick to the S&P 500 symbol. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit once this loads. All right. Remember when I told you? Let me just try to find a nice example here as I zoom out. There we go. Okay. Remember when I told you that this indicator is a stop and reverse indicator, meaning whenever the trading stop is hit, we should reverse our signal. Well, it's a bit hard to see in here, but I think everybody can see it. On this moment here, the price clearly went below the trading stop, yet it didn't reverse. What's going on? Is this a bug? No, it's not a bug, because the indicator by default is configured to reverse when the close price of the candle hits or breaks the trading stop. If it's the low price or the high price, it will not reverse. But this is a setting of the indicator which you can use, which you can change or adapt. So if I go back in here, for example, let's pay attention to this particular price here on March 2023, and I select, instead of reversal on close, which is number 0 here, if I put number 1, which means reversal when price is touching the trading stop. I click OK. All right, I close it, I reload the chart, and now here, once this reloads, give it a second, you can see if I go back a little bit, just zoomed out for me. But if we go back to the same point, now we would have reversed. I think it was right here in March when this trading stop was hit. Now this is reversal on touch. And sometimes reversal on touch will actually give you better performance statistics. Let's go down and check. I'm going to go down here, and wow, now it's 1.58 across 29 trades. So it went up a little bit for the SPY. And there's one more thing you can do. If, for example, you have a big difference between long trades and short trades, in this case it's not too big, but there might be a big difference sometimes, or if you have a clear personal preference towards one trade direction or the other. For example, if you're an investor, you only want to go long, you don't really care about short signals, you can actually tell the indicator, hey indicator, show me or basically optimize only for long signals, but do not optimize for short signals. Find the best combinations so that the long signals are working out the best. You can do this via the trading style parameter here. By, for example, telling it, okay, my trading style is 1. One stands for long only. I click OK. I close this. I want to reload, and now the optimizer will optimize only for long trades. If I go down here, 6 trades would have been taken. Profit factor of 3.11 for if you would have taken only the long trades. The short ones would have been ignored in the optimization process. So this is something which you can use to further hone in on these settings, on the signals that you are desiring, based on your trading style and based on what you're trading, for example. All right, so this is how Super Trend Bullseye works. All right, so this was our first example. This was our stop and reverse indicator. But there's more. What if we applied the exact same technology, auto optimization and performance statistics, to other types of indicators? For example, a classic trend trading indicator, or a reversal indicator based on divergence, or a breakout indicator. Would this also result in interesting signals and better signals? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Let me prove this to you. So we have developed a couple of years back an indicator bundle, which is called the Power Bundle 360. So it's called Power Bundle 360 because I know 360 degrees of full circle, because with this bundle, which consists of 3 indicators, every market condition would be covered. So going full circle. So we would have one indicator for trend trading, one indicator for trading reversals, trend reversals, and one indicator for trading breakouts within a sideways market. So there's one indicator for every condition. You are fully covered. All right. Now, how does this work in principle? What are these indicators in the first place? The first one is called a 1 to 3 strike, an indicator specializing on finding strong trend entries. And it does this by looking at 3 dimensions. It looks at an increase in volume, an increase in volatility, and it looks at overall directionality. Now, if directionality is up, we see an increase in volume, an increase in volatility, it will give you an entry signal in the direction of the overarching trend. That's what this indicator specializes on. The second indicator in the bundle is called divergence cloud. As the name suggests, it's an indicator specialized on identifying divergence. The divergence is always a discrepancy between price move, and an underlying indicator. If they don't agree with each other, something is up, something may be changing. Perhaps a trend is coming to an end and will reverse. All right, so there are many forms of divergence out there. For example, RSI divergence, stochastics divergence, MACD divergence, and so forth. Well, crafty as we are, we decided to come up with our own form of divergence, which we call volatility momentum divergence. And in our lab, we established oftentimes this is the most telling one, the most precise one, which can forecast reversals in the best way. Now, this indicator specializes in finding these divergences, which could be either bullish or bearish, and which could be a precursor for either a pullback or an entire trend reversal. So that's indicator number 2. The indicator number 3 is called a volatility crusher, an indicator to identify what we call strong breakouts. And in our book, a strong breakout is a breakout where price will continue to move in the breakout direction for quite some time after the breakout has occurred. And you can imagine as a trader, how can you take advantage of this? Well, you'd simply enter in the direction of the breakout and take, anticipate the price will continue moving in that direction. All right, lots of theory. Let's get practical again. Let's go back to MetaStock and see how these indicators work and how auto optimization and win rate prediction can help us trusting signals or perhaps ignoring signals. So once again, back to MetaStock. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of my charts here. And the first thing I'm going to be looking at is GE, General Electric. And we're only going to be focusing on daily charts today, but the indicators will work on any time frame. It doesn't matter what it is. So this would work for day trading just as well as it does for swing trading. All right, so what do we have here? Well, we have applied our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator to this chart of GE. And what we see, for example, right here, if I zoom in a little bit, we can see that recently, back here in May 8 this year, we had an entry signal, a long entry signal identified by our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator, our trend trading indicator. Okay, and we have a long entry signal, and this could have been an interesting idea to potentially go long here. But of course, we already know better. We already know, okay, well, we should always check whether we should trust the signal or perhaps not. How do we do this? Well, once again, we're going to go down here to our statistics. I'm going to scroll down here in our expert commentary where it says 1, 2, 3 strike. I'm going to scroll, keep going down, and we can see, okay, our win rate across all the bars is at 87%, meaning 87% of the long entry signals have been worked out as winners. All right, this is pretty good. All right, if you go further down, we can also see another number here, 84% in the optimization look back period. That's a detail, basically meaning that on all bars on the chart, the win rate is 87, but on the period on which we optimized the signals for, it's 84%. And oftentimes, they're very close together, and this is a good sign that you have not over-optimized your indicator, which can be a concern sometimes. All right, so 87% across all the bars, win rate for long entry signal. Wow, that's pretty cool. And as you can see here, this signal would have been a great winner. Prices had kept going up, and here we just had another signal coming up back here in July 16th, and prices are already on a nice path on an upwards trajectory, probably also making this entry signal a winner. And what's also interesting here about 1, 2, 3 strike is it not only gives you entry signals, but also exit suggestions. Just like Super Trend Bullseye, it comes with, which has a trading stop, 1, 2, 3 strike will give you concrete exit suggestions because it's partial exits. It's little downwards facing arrows here, which basically tell the trader, hey trader, perhaps it's time to book some profits, take some risk off the table. And these can be generated when things are flattening out, or perhaps there are some warning signs that potentially this upwards trend may come to an end. For example, here we had this exit suggestion and prices went down a little bit afterwards. So the indicator senses this, hey, things are slowing down, it will give you an exit suggestion. So you can see it here. And this works for the long direction, but also for the short direction. This is how this indicator works. This is our trend trading indicator. And once again, this indicator is equipped with auto optimization, where the indicator will find the best settings automatically for you. So in this particular case, for GE, it's these settings. We're not going to go through all of them, which have been used to generate these signals. Okay. If I change time frames, then if I go to Tesla here, Tesla, of course, a very popular stock. I've also applied our 1 to 3 strike indicator. We can see, okay, the settings would have been different. These are the new optimal settings, and perhaps more importantly, what would have been our win rate? Go down here, 81% to the long direction, 73% to the short direction. And once again, the numbers are very close to the numbers across all the bars, which is once again a good sign that we didn't over-optimize or curve fitted the signals. All right, so this is how our trend indicator works. And by the way, guys, if this goes a bit too fast, we have recorded an entire bootcamp on these indicators, which explain every single feature of it. I'm just going to give you an overview today, because we're focusing on how auto optimization and win rate prediction can make a big difference. But if you want to know all the different small features and how the indicator actually works internally, you should check out the bootcamp, which we have recorded. Okay, moving on. The next indicator is divergence cloud. I applied it here to IBM. I'm going to switch up one more time our time frame from Tesla to IBM. And now, in this case, we have to apply divergence cloud to it, or divergence indicator. And the first thing you can see here, once I drag this a little bit further down, the first thing you can see is that some bars are colored greenish, and some bars are colored in this pinkish tone here. You can also see this little ribbon below. These are moments in time when either we have bullish divergence, it's like greenish, you can see it here, or when we have bearish divergence. And the indicator uses this information to generate entry signals. In this case, what you will get are very early entry signals. When the indicator senses, hey, something is up, something may come to an end. Here's an example. Prices were coming down, but as we are flattening out, we had this one moment of bullish divergence here. We get this long entry signal, and the indicator was sensing, okay, this short trend is coming to an end, it's weakening, and it may be reversing to the upside. So you get these very early entry signals with this indicator. And of course, you can then again verify. So if you get a new signal coming in, you can verify, should I trust this signal or not? How? Once again, I'm going to go down to our settings here and look at my statistics. Very high, 86% to the long direction, 67% to the short direction. That's pretty good, especially for an indicator like divergence cloud, where typically your winners will be bigger than your losers. Look what we had recently here, a couple of weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago, we had a nice short entry signal, yeah, and a nice follow through in price here at IBM afterwards. Another example, the United States Oil Fund, USO, which is tracking the crude oil price. It's an ETF. Also here, I have applied divergence cloud to it. Also here, we see our entry signals and our long entry signals and our short entry signals. And of course, we see here's also our win rate statistics. Once again, we can see how much we should trust these signals. And sometimes, it's not the case for this particular symbol, but sometimes you will see, okay, long efficiency only 30%, or short efficiency only 25%. And this is a clear sign to you, hey, right now, this indicator is not working so well on this particular chart. I should not trust the signal. But guess what? There are so many different symbols to trade. I guarantee you that you will find every single day a new interesting signal to trade. We're actually going to find some signals together a bit later on. Okay, so one more indicator to look through, our breakout indicator. So I'm going to switch it up one more time. I'm going to go to Facebook, Meta. There we go. It's loading. There we go. All right. So now we have our breakout indicator applied to this price chart. It works very similarly. We have our long entry signals, we have our targets that are being hit. You can see it here. Sometimes we get stopped out, but this is how the breakout indicator works. So we are breaking out of a sideways range, as we had it here. Prices were somewhat sideways. We break out, and then we anticipate that prices will continue in the breakout direction for quite some time. And if we do, we hit our targets, or we close at the trade. I can see it here. And once again, also this indicator is equipped with auto optimization. You can see the win rates right here, which are generated based on the auto-optimized parameters. So in this case, the indicator actually tested when it was applied to the chart 640 different configurations of parameters and found the ones which are working best for this particular symbol. In this case, which were working best for Meta on the daily time frame. If we switch it up to Google, for example, same indicator, you can see it here, we will see that also for Google, once again, it will re-optimize. It will go through all these different configurations, find the best parameters to give you the best signals on your chart. I can see our short entry signals here with targets being hit, our long entry signals, and so forth and so forth. So this is how this indicator works. Okay, now let's recap a little bit. And please bear with me for 1 second because there's one more topic which I really want to cover. So quickly back to my slides. A quick recap. So first off, what have we seen? We have seen our Power Bundle 360 indicators, which all three indicators come with clear entry signals, but also clear exit signals. They will run on any symbol, doesn't matter what it is. We've seen mostly stock symbols today, but they will work on crypto, they will work on ETFs, they work on futures, they work on FX and so forth. No problem. They will also work on any time frame, not just the daily time frame, but also the 5-minute time frame, the 15-minute time frame, 30-minute, 1 minute, whatever it may be. All three indicators come with our real-time statistics, and they will come with auto optimization, which once again has been such a breakthrough in our trading because now the indicator would find the best parameters for you. So you don't have to do it manually, which you typically will not do in the long run. And I guarantee to you there's always, pretty much in every single case, a better setting than the default setting. And this auto optimization feature will find these best settings for you. Okay, one more topic, Confluence. We mentioned this. What if we had a Confluence-based indicator? What's Confluence? Okay, let's back up one more time. What is Confluence? It's a concept in trading which basically says, okay, we are waiting until multiple indicators are coming together and are forecasting the same price move. So multiple things need to come together, and it's very rare that this happens, and they need to forecast the same move. So maybe perhaps our 1 to 3 strike indicator needs to give us a buy signal, and maybe Supertrend also needs to give us a buy signal and so forth. So all these things need to come together and forecast the same thing. And if this happens, really impressive moves can follow suit. Now, here's an example of what Confluence is. So let's have a look at this chart. What do we see? Okay, so what do we see? Here we have a descending trend line. You can see this little black line here is going downwards. We can also see that price is approaching this red line here, which is could be some sort of dynamic resistance. It's also approaching this bluish line here, which is the 200 SMA. Price also retraced towards the 61.8 FIB level. You can see it here, and prices are overbought. And if you total all this up, descending trend line, we are approaching the 200 SMA, we are approaching the 61.8 FIB level, and we are overbought. So what do all these conditions forecast? Right, they are forecasting a bearish continuation. So you can see it here. So this is what we mean by Confluence. Multiple complementary indicators or reads are forecasting the same price move. The more the better. This is the principle of Confluence. So we thought, okay, that sounds fantastic. Let's put it to practice. So what we've done is we have created a Confluence indicator, which we call super signals, which looks for confluence among our 3 Power Bundle 360 indicators while using auto optimization and win rate prediction. And depending on how these indicators come together, we have different types of signals. We have bronze and silver and gold and platinum. I'm not going to go through all of these nuances of these. Just keep in mind that Bronze are the most common one. Silver is a bit more rare. Gold is really rare, and platinum is the most rare signal where everything really lines up and good things are coming together. So how can we find these signals? How does it look like on the chart? Well, let's check it out. So one more time, back to our charts, and I'm going to open up this symbol here, Eli Lilly. A very popular stock as well. Has been very bullish lately. It is in a sideways consolidation. And what do we see here? Well, first off, we have applied our Confluence indicator to this chart. What you see here is we see these little arrows here, which are our bronze signals. If you remember, these are the most frequent ones where only 2 or 3 indicators need to come together. Then we've also have, I don't see any silver signals here, where this happens, but then we have a couple of gold signals. You can see it here. Gold signal there. A gold signal here. Here a short signal. And look at these follow-throughs afterwards. This is what I mean by if multiple indicators are coming together, forecasting the same thing at the same time, good things can happen. And this indicator called super signals is based on this principle. So, and you can see there's no platinum signal here. I'm going to go back a bit further. You have one silver signal here, also quite rare, but no platinum. Platinum is the most extreme and rare case of Confluence. So this is how super signals work. And this is based on our 3 power bundle indicators, and it has built-in win rate prediction and auto optimization, which can give you this kind of quality signals. So this is our powerhouse indicator when it comes to super Confluence-based indicators. And you can see in the expert commentary here also, what are the win rates for both directions and so forth, and which optimization settings was used. All right. Now, I need to back up one more time, and then we're going to conclude in just a bit, and it's also going to be time for questions. So one more topic to be covered, one last piece, and then we've covered all the technical topics. What is this last piece? Well, I think something which you may have asked yourself already. How do I know which signal right now has an entry signal? That's very important to know because, most of the signals we looked at so far, they happened in the past. But how do I know which symbols right now in this moment have signals? And if you ask this question, you probably should also ask yourself this question. How do I know which of the signals which I may find right now, which of those are the most likely ones to result in a successful trade? 2 very important questions. We have an answer to this. We call the answer generation 3 scanning. So MetaStock probably has the most powerful scanner out there in the industry. It allows you to scan through thousands of symbols within minutes, finding the ones which currently have one of these very rare signals, which is awesome. But not like this, not just that. It allows for something called generation 3 scanning with our indicators. Let me explain. The generation 1, as we define it, is plain old signal scanning. You basically just, scan through your 500 symbols or 1,000 symbols and find the ones which currently have a buy signal or a sell signal. That's it. Generation 2 scanning brings this whole thing one step further. We're not just scanning for signals, but we're also showing directly in these scan results which symbols are currently working the best by showing you directly in the results which have the highest win rates, which made a big difference because that way you can focus on the ones with the highest win rates first. Once again, a big time saver. But it doesn't stop there. Generation 3 scanning does something in addition to all this. It will use optimized settings on a per symbol basis. So regular scanning uses the same settings for every single symbol. With generation 3, we will use different settings. We will use the optimized settings on a per symbol basis. We will use different settings for Tesla, different settings for IBM, different settings for Eli Lilly, and so forth. Each time we'll use the optimized settings to find symbols which currently have signals based on these optimized settings. Sounds complicated, actually super easy with MetaStock. So one more time, let me go back to MetaStock. And this time I'm going to open up the Explorer in MetaStock. So back one more time. There we go. I'm actually gonna go quickly here. I'm gonna open up the Power Panel. And with our indicators, you will get all kinds of explorations, basically predefined scans, which allow you to find symbols which currently have signals. We have a scan for Super Trend Bullseye, a scan for super signals, a scan for volatility crusher, and so forth and so forth. This comes all predefined. So what I've done is I ran a scan over the 503 S&P 500 symbols earlier today. It took about 15 minutes to complete. It was a very comprehensive scan. And this was a scan based on all the indicators that we've seen today. And here are the results. I'm going to go back one more time to my results here. There we go. So the results are listed here. I'm going to start off with the results given by our 1 to 3 strike indicator. So as an example, what do we see here? We see that of our 503 symbols, currently 8 symbols have signals on the very last completed bar, like Broadcom, Dayforce, Dex.com, and so forth. Okay, that's great. Of these symbols, if I sort by long signal, the first 3 ones, Broadcom, Latest, and this one here, they have long entry signals, and the last 5 ones have short entry signals. Okay. Of those ones, let's say for long entry signals, we also see here directly in the statistics what are the projected win rates for the long direction, and for the ones for the short direction, what are the projected win rates for the short direction. And guess what? This allows you to now sort your signals by quality, focusing on the ones with the highest win rates first. And one that stood out was actually, and it was very close by, was Broadcom. So Broadcom has a long entry signal with a really high win rate of 92%. In fact, all of our long entry signals have very high win rates. But let's focus on Broadcom. I'm going to open this one up by clicking on this chart symbol here. This will now open up in MetaStock on the daily time frame. And in this case, 1 to 3 strike is already applied to the chart. And we can see on the last completed bar, which was yesterday's bar, we do indeed have a long entry signal. And if I scroll down here in our settings, we can see long win rate, 93%. And I found the signal simply by running a scan in MetaStock. I clicked start. I went to get a coffee. Once I came back, the scan was finished. I could look at the results. It cannot be easier than this. And just to put this into context, this was not just a regular scan. It was a scan using auto optimization built in on a per symbol basis, and which allows you to rank your symbols based on win rates, allowing you to focus on the ones which have the highest win rates first. All right, one more example of a nice entry signal I found today. I really like this Broadcom signal, by the way. It's a very bullish stock to begin with, and we have a long entry signal. So that's definitely interesting. Another one which was interesting is for super signals. We have a very nice gold super signals. These are super rare. We only have one of all the 500 S&P 500 symbols here for latest holdings. Let me open this one up. All right, opening this one up, it's pulling up here. And once I apply the indicator, I'm just calculating right now, we can see, all right, we do indeed have a very rare long entry signal on the last completed bar. Look at this, beautiful. Yeah, and I found this symbol once again simply by running a scan. I did not go through every single signal or symbol manually, which would take too long. I found it by scanning for it. So this concludes the technical portion of this talk, and we're going to get to all your questions in a second. But let me quickly summarize, because if you are thinking, perhaps I should try out these indicators, let me help you a little bit. So who are these indicators for? Well, if you are a day trader or a scalper or a swing trader or investor or really any type of trader, then the answer is yes, these indicators might be for me, because these indicators, they will work on all time frames and on all chart types, period. It also doesn't matter what you trade, whether you trade stocks or FX or futures or cryptos or ETFs, no problem. These indicators will work on any asset class and symbols, no restriction. Thirdly, if you are an engineer like me, I'm a software engineer by training, and if you believe that good tools can make your life easier and good trading tools can make your trading life easier, then these indicators are definitely for you, because they will do all the heavy lifting for you. They will auto optimize your settings for you, so you don't have to do it. They will predict the win rates for your signals automatically for you, so that you can make truly informed trading decisions. all these key things which are hard to do for a human being because they're tedious, they take time, the indicator will do for you. So if you believe these indicators could help you in your trading, then we put together something very special for you. Typically, this bundle of indicators, which includes our Super Trend Bullseye indicator, our Super Signals indicator, and our Power Bundle indicators. Typically, we offer this bundle for $1,997. But as a special thank you for being here today and listening to me talk for 1 hour straight without taking any questions, I apologize for this. We have decided to give you an even better offer. If you make a decision today or as soon as you watch this webinar, you can get these indicators at a 100 or 50% discount for only $997. And this is for life. Once again, including our 3 Power Bundle indicators, including our Super Signals indicators, including our Super Trend Bullseye indicator, all equipped with auto optimization and performance statistics. And on top of all this, we will also throw in another bonus offer, which is our Trend Radar indicator. Another indicator which we have designed to help us better understand the current market conditions. We didn't even have time to talk about this one. We're going to add it in along with training material. It looks like this. It will show you directly underneath the price chart a heat map, like this one here, showing you what are the current market conditions. Are we potentially reversing into a downtrend? Are we seeing pullbacks within an uptrend? And so forth and so forth. These are displayed underneath your price chart, so they won't clutter your chart, and they can once again help you make better trading decisions just by taking into account one more piece of context. So if you want to take advantage of this offer, of this mega offer, really, it really is. We have not done this before. This is really the lowest we've ever offered these 3 indicators. All you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/mega. Perhaps Jeffrey can put this link also into the chat box. So tradingindicators.com/mega, and this includes also, in addition to all the indicators we went through today, also our Trend Radar indicator. Really a rare offer that we don't do all the time. This is super special because normally already at a discount, we offer it as a $1,997 value, price tag. Today only $997. So special thank you for all the attendees today. All right, now it's time for questions. Let me quickly have a look what did come in. All right, so if I can make this a bit bigger, 1 second. And Jeffrey, if you can just try to read these questions.
You want me to read them?
Yeah, maybe a couple of them. Yeah, so I don't have to screen it down. It's a bit small here on my screen. Yeah.
We'll start with a question from YouTube, actually. And Harsh wants to know, is there a strategy that you recommend for 1-minute trading?
I mean, there's no recommendation per se, but what I do, here are the steps what I do. First of all, I rely almost 100% on the statistics. So if the indicator tells me on that 1-minute time frame, whatever symbol that might be, maybe the S&P 500 futures, it's currently working great. Yeah, we're getting great win rates for the long direction, but perhaps not so great win rates for the short direction. I would simply trust that indicator if it gets you good win rates. If not, I may use a different indicator to see if that indicator is more honed into the market conditions. So I really trust these indicators, our indicators, and we just had a live trading workshop earlier today at 9:30. We're actually live trading on small time frames on the futures market. And if for all those who attended, you would have seen that we rely on our indicators to give us these reads on the markets, these insights which you would normally not see with the naked eye. So we trust the indicators. That's our strategy.
Thanks, Harsh. Appreciate the question. Dwayne wants to know if you have any thoughts on the over-optimization of variables.
I do. That's obviously a concern. And let me go one more time to one of the symbols here that we reviewed. I think it was just a second. I'm going to go quickly. Hang on. What I like to see in terms of protecting myself against over-optimization and curve fitting is if I see something like this, where the statistics across all the bars is in the same neighborhood as the statistics in just the optimization period. If there's no big difference, oftentimes that's a really good sign that we did not over-optimize. If for some reason you see a big difference, let's say in the optimization period you have 90% win rate, but across all the bars maybe only 20%, then that's not such a good sign. But if they're close together, that is good enough for me, and I'm confident that we didn't over-optimize. So this is what I look at. I like these two sets of numbers to be close together.
Thanks for the question. Fahad wants to know, I'm impressed with your indicator, but can I use it without combining it with a higher time frame? And if so, how would I make a decision?
Yeah, good question again. So time frame tunnel vision is a real thing. Let's say you are on a smaller time frame, and maybe you see a nice short entry signal. This is a daily here, but just to make the example, say you were on the minute here, you see this nice short entry signal. Something that I typically do when I live trade is I zoom out a little bit. I go to the 15-minute to the 30-minute time frame or the hourly and see, hey, are we perhaps trading against support? And perhaps there's a strong support level on a bigger time frame, and there's a short entry signal. This would be a flag, a warning flag for me, because hey, this trade may not have a lot of room left before it hits support. So I may skip it that way. So yes, I do take into account longer time frame information or higher time frame information, but mainly from a point of view, are we trading potentially against strong support or strong resistance, and this trade may not have much room to run.
Let's see. Homo wants to know how it performs in the futures market, specifically the ES.
Yeah, it performs just the same way. In a sense that the indicator will tell you how well it works. And there are days out there, I'm not going to lie about this, where the indicators will not give you good statistics. But the beauty about this is it actually tells you before you take the trade. That's when you want to know it. So if this happens, I would simply not trade based on these signals today. Because for whatever reason, I don't question why, for whatever reason, the current market conditions are not right for following this indicator. But it's important to know this before you take the trade.
John says, can you explain what you mean when you say across the optimization period as opposed to across all bars?
Yeah, so let's say this chart here, I'm just making this up, has 2,000 bars loaded. I'm making up the number, it doesn't matter. And so and it shows you signals for all these 2,000 bars. This would be the statistics based on these signals, the 86%. But the way our optimizer works, it doesn't consider all the bars on the chart. It considers a subset of the bars on the chart. Let's say 1,000 bars, and it optimizes based on those 1,000 bars. Otherwise, it would take too long. So this is why we have these two statistics. These are the stats here, down here. When we only look at the signals in the 1,000 bars of the optimization process, and these are the statistics across all the bars on the chart. What we want is we want these to be as close together as possible.
Vincent wants to know, what's the next add-on you're bringing to MetaStock?
Oh, the next thing I believe is going to be our support and resistance indicator. It's been very helpful to us to further qualify these signals in addition to the win rates, which can, is one more checkbox to bring to the table. So that's probably a project for the fall of this year, if you guys are available, Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah, we'll make time. What do you mean? Okay. Ibrahim wants to know, can you do the same analysis with Elliott wave analysis?
This is something that we don't typically do too much for the main reason that it's very subjective. I find these wave counts, depending on where you start or where your starting point is, they would differ. But who knows what's the best starting point? So to me, Elliott wave is something that we don't incorporate too much into our analysis personally. And right now, our auto optimization technology and win rate prediction, that's something only available to our indicators because they need to be written and programmed in a certain way so that we cannot apply the same principles to third-party indicators. So these are available for the power bundle indicators, super signals, and super trend bullseye.
There's that old saying that you can give one chart to 15 different Elliott wave analysts and get 20 different counts.
Yeah, Yeah.
All right, that's the end of the questions. I do want to just kind of reiterate a couple of things. These methodologies have been extremely popular. They've been well received. This is a huge discount. You can get it. You need to go to www.tradingindicators.com/mega. We also put the phone number in the chat. If you have any questions, you can call us. We'd be happy to talk to you. We love talking to you. 800-882-3040. If you want to see some different charts on some different instruments, get in touch with our sales team at metastock.com/sales chat. And all of those links are in the comments. So Daniel, that's the end of the questions. I appreciate all the work you've done with all of these great stuff and putting them into MetaStock. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. It's been fun as always. It's really fun to work with the good folks from MetaStock. As Jeffrey, as you said, it's been so many years now. I met many of you in person. I think Jeffrey and I, we met in Vegas at least once. I met Bobby in Montreal once. I met many of your team in different places. Really good guys, very knowledgeable, really good traders. So it's been fun. Thanks, Jeffrey, for having us. And one quick thing, real quick, if there's any question that was not answered today, you can always also reach out to us directly at tradingindicators.com. Go to our homepage, click on support and contact, put your question there. It will go straight to my inbox and I will answer every single question personally. I promise.
Right on. Daniel, where are you off to? You're off to vacation. Where is it?
I'm heading to Germany today.
Germany, yeah, that's right. Germany. Well, have a great time.
Going to see my old childhood friends. We're going to go to 2 soccer games. My favorite team is playing. And it's not Bayern Munich, in case you're wondering. It's actually a team of my home city, Rostock. Unfortunately, they're playing the 3rd division right now. So not the best years, but it's still, this is where my heart is. I'm a loyal guy when it comes to soccer and many other things too.
Cool. tradingindicators.com/mega. If you have any questions, let us know. Daniel, enjoy your vacation. We'll talk to you when you get back.
Thanks, guys. Trade safe. Bye-bye. Thanks for attending.
Bye-bye.